Welcome back. So, we live in a world that is constantly, and I mean constantly, telling us we need more. More stuff, more success, more everything. Today we're going to flip that on its head by looking at the life of a man who was the Buddha's equal, precisely because he mastered the art of having just enough. His name was Mahākassapa.
So what can we actually learn from a guy like this? Well, Mahākassapa wasn't just some monk living a simple life. He was a foundational pillar of early Buddhism. And his story, his whole approach, really starts with one defining, almost radical trait.
The Buddha himself actually pointed to this as Mahākassapa's defining feature, a deep, unshakable contentment. But look, this wasn't about him just passively accepting his fate. No, it was an active, you could even say joyful way of engaging with the world. I mean, listen to this. The Buddha saw him as the ultimate example, the kind of person whose peace of mind didn't depend on anything outside of himself. And notice that last part, he didn't just feel content, he spoke out in praise of it, basically showing everyone else how to find it too.
So, how did he do it? How do you build that kind of unshakable contentment? Well, for him, it all rested on 4 simple pillars, the absolute basic essentials of a monk's life.
Okay, so first up, his robes, or shivara. It just didn't matter if they were brand new or falling apart, rough or smooth. For him, a robe had one job, to cover the body. That's it. Any attachment to how it looked or felt, that was just a distraction he refused to get caught up in. Second, his food, the alms food, or pindapata. Whether a meal was incredible or totally bland was completely irrelevant to him. Think about that. This simple idea freed his mind from that constant cycle of craving and disappointment that so many of us get stuck in when it comes to what we eat.
Third was his lodging, or senasana. A hut in the forest, a room in a monastery, it was all the same. Shelter was for protection, period. It wasn't a status symbol or a place to find cozy comfort.
And finally, medicine. He took only what was necessary for his health, no complaining, no fuss. And here's the key to all 4 of these pillars. This radical simplicity, it wasn't about self-punishment, not at all. It was the very foundation of his incredible inner freedom. So, with that super simple exterior, you have to wonder, right, what was going on inside his head? This is where it gets really fascinating, because we see how that external freedom led to a mind that could actually mirror the Buddha's own. So, what does it actually take to achieve awakening? Well, the texts point to 2 key qualities. First, there's atapi, or ardor. That's like a relentless energy to improve your mind. And second, there's otapi, or conscience. You know, that little voice inside that stops you from doing harm. Kassapa didn't just have these qualities, he had absolutely mastered them. And this leads to maybe the most incredible praise you can possibly imagine. The Buddha himself declared that when it came to meditation, Mahākassapa was his equal. Just let that sink in for a second. The Buddha said they were on the same level. This was not just some casual compliment, like, hey, good job. No, this was a formal declaration of Kassapa's complete spiritual realization. He had walked the path all the way to the very end and achieved the exact same liberation as the Buddha himself.
But here's the thing. Kassapa wasn't just some quiet ascetic meditating alone in the forest. Not at all. He was also a fierce protector of the community's discipline and the integrity of the teachings.
He started to notice things. Standards were slipping. Monks were getting undisciplined, hard to talk to. And he felt this deep responsibility to do something about it, even if it meant he wouldn't be the most popular guy in the room.
And his really direct approach comes through loud and clear in this famous confrontation he had with Ananda, you know, the Buddha's beloved, gentle-natured attendant.
Now, Kassapa's comment, calling Ananda a boy, it wasn't a personal jab. It was a sharp, pointed way of saying, hey, despite your age, your gentle approach has become a weakness, and it is damaging the reputation of our entire community.
And when his right to criticize Ananda was challenged, Kassapa didn't get into a big argument. He just laid out the facts of his own journey, how he recognized the Buddha on sight, how he even exchanged robes with him. He wasn't pulling rank, he was simply reminding everyone of the solid foundation his authority was built on.
You know, Kassapa's concerns really point to a huge universal question. It's relevant for any organization, any tradition, any movement. Why do good things, valuable teachings, and ideals fade over time?
And he didn't just sit around and worry about it. He took this critical question straight to the top,
directly to the Buddha. He was deeply concerned about the future of the very teachings he held so dear.
The Buddha's answer was just brilliant. He used this powerful analogy. He said, the true teaching is like pure gold. It doesn't just disappear on its own. It only starts to lose its value when a counterfeit, a fake version, starts circulating and people can't tell the difference anymore.
And this decline, it happens like a waning moon. These essential qualities, faith, conscience, energy, wisdom, they slowly fade away and they get replaced by their exact opposites.
The Buddha then laid out 5 specific attitudes that speed up this decay. And it all starts with a loss of reverence, a disrespect for the teacher, for the teaching itself, for the community, for the training, and for the very practice of concentration that holds it all together.
And this, right here, is the Buddha's crucial warning. The real threat isn't some outside enemy. It's the worthless people who arise right here within it. It's the corruption and the negligence from the inside. The danger comes from its own followers.
And that leaves us with a final, really provocative thought. Mahākassapa chose to be a guardian. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? In our own lives, for the things we truly hold dear, our principles, our communities, our knowledge, how do we make sure that we are being guardians and not, unintentionally, the agents of their decline?